Kofi, I need some money for food. Please, the children are hungry.
You brought millet.
It's what you have now.
You want to survive? Take your worthless sack and go back to where you came from.
How? We will get through this. Mommy, are we hungry? No, my dear, not anymore.
Amina never imagined that the man who once promised to build her a beautiful life would one day throw a sack of millet at her feet and tell her to go and survive on the roadside. That morning, her children were hungry. The kitchen was empty, and the mansion she lived in no longer felt like a home. Her husband, Kofi Mensah, had money for new watches, imported shoes, and expensive nights out, but when Amina asked him for food money, he looked at her with cold eyes and laughed. Then he pointed to the sack on the floor and said, "If you want to feed your children so badly, make porridge and sell it by the road." He meant to shame her. He never expected that one cruel sentence would become the beginning of his downfall and the start of her rise. Intro. Amina had not always been the quiet woman people now saw walking carefully through that big house. Before marriage, she had dreams. She was smart, graceful, and full of purpose. She wanted to build a catering business and later open a training center for young women. But when Kofi came into her life, he spoke with confidence and charm. He told her she would never struggle. He promised to support every dream she had, and for a while, she believed him. After their wedding, he asked her to rest for a while. Then, when she got pregnant, he told her to focus on the baby. Later, when she spoke again about her business ideas, he said, "Why should my wife be stressing herself in the market? I can provide everything." At first, it sounded like love. Later, it became control. Year after year, he shut every door that could have led her toward independence. And now, with 3 children to care for, Amina found herself trapped in a house full of comfort on the outside and fear on the inside. That morning, her youngest son, Malik, held her wrapper and whispered, "Mama, is there no breakfast today?" Amina swallowed hard. Her daughter, Nia, avoided her eyes. The older boy, Tendo, tried to act strong, but children cannot hide hunger for long. Amina went to the living room and stood before Kofi. "Kofi, please," she said softly. "The children have not eaten since last night. Give me money for food." He did not even look up properly. Instead, he adjusted the cuff of his shirt and said, "You are always complaining." "I am not complaining," Amina replied. "I am begging for the children." That was when he looked at her, not with love, not even with irritation, but with the kind of pride that enjoys watching someone suffer. He snapped his fingers toward one of the house staff. "Bring that sack." The man brought a half-used sack of millet and dropped it near Amina. Kofi leaned back and smirked. "There. Cook porridge. Sell it by the roadside if you want money. Since you like acting poor, go and be poor properly." Amina stared at him. For a moment she thought she had heard wrong. "Kofi." But he stood up, picked his car keys and said, "And don't ask me for food money again." Then he walked out. The children had heard everything. Malik looked frightened. Nia lowered her face. Tendo's fists tightened, but he was too young to fight the kind of pain he had just witnessed. Amina looked at the sack on the floor. Humiliation burned in her chest, but hunger burned hotter. She bent down, lifted the sack, and carried it to the kitchen. That was the day something changed inside her. Not all at once, not loudly, but deeply. She did not cry first. She planned. By afternoon, she went quietly to see Mama Sefa, an older woman who sold spices in the neighborhood. Mama Sefa watched her closely and asked, "My daughter, why are your eyes carrying this much pain?" Amina hesitated. Then the truth came out. She told her everything: the hunger, the insults, the sack of millet, the command to go and sell porridge like it was a curse. Mama Sefa listened without interrupting. Then she placed a warm hand on Amina's shoulder. "Listen to me carefully," she said. "Some people throw shame at you, not knowing God can turn it into seed. If He gave you millet to disgrace you, use it to feed your future." Amina's eyes filled. "I have never sold on the roadside before." "You will learn," Mama Sefa said, "and you will not start alone." That night, after the children slept, Amina washed the millet. She borrowed a small stove. She found an old pot. She grated ginger with careful hands. She added ground nuts and a little sugar. Not because she had plenty, but because even in pain, she wanted to do things with excellence. At dawn, before Kofi woke, Amina and the children slipped out through the side gate. Mama Sefa met them near the bus stop with 3 plastic buckets, some cups, and a folding stool. The air was still cold. The road was just waking up. Amina's hands shook as she lit the fire. Nia arranged the cups. Tendo carried water. Little Malik stood beside his mother and said, "Mama, I will call customers for you." Amina smiled through tears. "No, my son. Just stay close to me." When the porridge began to steam, the smell spread slowly, warm, spiced, inviting. A taxi driver was the first to stop. "How much?" he asked. Amina almost forgot to answer. Mama Sefa nudged her gently. Amina named the price. The man tasted 1 spoon, then paused. "This is good," he said. "Very good. Give me 2 more cups." That one sale gave Amina courage. Then a woman buying bread bought porridge too. Then 2 mechanics. Then a nurse heading to morning shift. Within an hour, the small table looked too small. Naya's face lit up. "Mama, people like it." Amina kept serving, speaking politely, thanking every customer. For the first time in a long time, she did not feel helpless. She felt useful. By noon, almost everything had sold out. The children gathered around the little money she had made as if it were treasure. To them, it was. That evening, she used part of it to buy food. Real food: rice, beans, soap, and bread for the morning. When Kofi came home, he noticed the kitchen had supplies. He frowned. "Where did this come from?" Amina answered quietly. "From the porridge." His expression hardened. "You actually went?" "The children needed food." He walked closer. "You want to disgrace me in public?" Amina looked at him steadily and said, "No, I wanted to feed your children." He slapped the dining table so hard the plates rattled. "Don't speak to me like that." The children froze, but something had already shifted. Amina did not shake the way she used to. The next morning, she went again, and the next. Within a week, commuters were beginning to look for her before sunrise. People started saying, "Go to the porridge woman by the corner. Hers is the best." She added sweet potatoes on some mornings. On others, she served bean cakes and tea. She learned what customers liked. She learned how to prepare faster. She learned that dignity does not come from where you stand, but from what you build with your hands. But not everyone was happy. Kofi had a woman in his life named Nadia, young, flashy, and always hungry for attention. She loved expensive things, social media drama, and being seen around rich men. When she heard that Kofi's wife had started selling by the roadside, She laughed so loudly, people turned. One morning, Nadia drove past the bus stop, saw Amina serving customers, and stepped out with her phone. "Oh, wow," she said mockingly. "So this is where Madame Mansion ended up." Amina ignored her. Nadia moved closer and began recording. "Look at this," she said. "Chief Kofi's wife now selling porridge by the roadside. Life is funny." Some people nearby looked uncomfortable. Others watched. Amina kept serving. "Mama, should I tell her to go?" Nia whispered. Amina said, "No, we are here to work." But an elderly customer, a school principal named Mrs. Ajay, stepped forward and spoke sharply. "Young woman, if you have no good words, leave her alone. She is working honestly." "Can you say the same for yourself?" People murmured. Nadia rolled her eyes, laughed, and drove off. But the video she posted did not do what she expected. Instead of mocking Amina, people admired her. They praised her composure. They praised her strength, and many wanted to support her. The next 2 mornings, customer lines doubled. Office workers came, bus drivers came, market women came. One man said, "Are you the woman from that video? Please give me 4 cups and pack for my colleagues." Another said, "We came because we saw how calm you were. May God bless your hands." Amina could barely process it. Shame had become advertisement. But Kofi saw the same video and was furious. He stormed into the house that night. "You are enjoying this attention now?" Amina was washing cups. "I'm just working." "You are making me look weak." "No," she said. "Your actions are doing that." He stepped closer, anger rising. "You have become too bold." Amina looked at him calmly. "I became tired of watching my children starve." For a moment, Kofi looked stunned. He was not used to hearing truth without fear. The next day, he made calls. He tried to use influence to get her removed from the roadside. By mid-morning, 2 city officers arrived and told Amina to clear her setup. She pleaded with them. "Please, this is how I feed my children." One officer looked uncomfortable. The other remained firm. "I have my orders." Before they could touch anything, customers began speaking up. A bus conductor shouted, "Leave her alone!" A nurse added, "She is not disturbing anybody." Mrs. Ajay arrived again and said, "If there is a proper process, follow it. But nobody will bully this woman because a proud man is embarrassed." Then a matron from a nearby private clinic stepped forward. She had been buying porridge for days. "How many liters can you make in the morning?" she asked. Amina blinked. "It depends, madam." The matron smiled. "From tomorrow, prepare enough for 20 staff members. We will take daily delivery." Amina nearly dropped the ladle. "What?" "You heard me," the matron said. "Your food is clean, hot, and well made. We need breakfast at the clinic." It felt unreal. The officers left without touching her stand. And that afternoon, Amina sat under a tree, held her face in her hands, and cried. Not because she was broken, but because hope had returned so suddenly she did not know where to place it. With Mama Sifa's help, she rented a tiny kiosk near the same road. It was barely more than a box with a counter. But to Amina, it looked like possibility. She painted it clean cream and yellow. On the front, Nia wrote in neat letters, "Amina's morning pot, customers loved the name." The clinic contract grew. Soon a nearby school driver began buying porridge in bulk for teachers. Then a filling station ordered tea and sweet potatoes. Amina hired 2 widowed women from the area to help in the mornings. What had started as humiliation became a business. And the children changed too. Malik no longer asked every night if there would be breakfast. Nia smiled more. Tendo stood taller. He once told his mother, When I grow up, I want to build offices for your company. Amina laughed, but inside she was healing. Kofi, however, was sinking deeper into pride. Instead of reflecting, he became more reckless. Nadia kept pushing him toward bigger spending. She told him he needed to prove he was still powerful. She introduced him to a man called Rex, who claimed he had a fast, secret investment that would triple Kofi's money in months. Luxury imports, exclusive land allocation, government-linked connections. Everything sounded impressive. Everything sounded urgent. Nadia kept whispering, "This is your chance to make bigger money than ever." Kofi wanted results. He wanted to feel superior again. He wanted to drown out the embarrassment of seeing people celebrate the wife he had mocked. So he signed papers he barely read, moved money carelessly, sold assets quickly, and kept borrowing to enter deeper into a deal that was never real. Meanwhile, he still tried to control Amina. One night, he demanded money from her drawer. "This is my house," he said. "Any money here is under my authority." Amina stood between him and the drawer. "This is business money. It is for ingredients and school fees." His eyes narrowed. "You dare refuse me?" "Yes," she said quietly. "Because for the first time, this money has purpose." He grabbed at the drawer, but Tendo stepped forward. "Leave Mama's money." The room went silent. Kofi stared at his son in disbelief. Amina pulled Tendo back immediately, but the truth was already hanging in the air. The children were no longer afraid in the same way. They had seen their mother stand up, and courage is contagious. That night, Kofi shouted until his voice became rough. Then he left the house and drove to Nadia. But trouble was already growing around him. Weeks passed. Business at Amina's kiosk improved. She kept records. She saved carefully. She paid school fees on time. She even opened a small account in the business name. One afternoon, a local radio presenter stopped by after hearing about her story from customers. He bought Porridge, listened to her speak modestly about hard work, and later mentioned her on air. The next morning, there were so many customers that the line reached the next corner. Someone said, "This place will soon become a restaurant." Amina smiled and replied, "One step at a time." Then came the day Kofi finally crossed the line fully. He returned home angry, demanded that she stop the business, and when she refused, he told her to leave his house with the children. The words stunned even him as soon as they left his mouth, but pride would not let him take them back. Amina stood there in silence. The children stared. Nia began crying. Malik clung to his mother's leg. Kofi pointed toward the door. "If feeding them matters more than respecting me, then go." Amina felt something inside her settle, not break, settle, like a decision that had been waiting for its time. She did not scream. She did not beg. She simply said, "Children, pack what you need." Mama Sefa came. Mrs. Aji came. The clinic matron sent her driver. In one painful evening, the same community that had watched her begin gathered to make sure she would not sleep outside. She and the children moved into a modest 2-room apartment above a tailoring shop. It was not fancy, but it was peaceful. And peace can feel more luxurious than marble floors. From there, her business grew even faster. People admired her more. A women's cooperative offered her a small grant. A church group connected her to a breakfast training program. She improved packaging, added delivery flasks, and began supplying offices. Soon she was not just selling porridge, she was running a morning food service. Then the storm finally hit Kofi. One evening, he came back to his mansion and found the gate unusually quiet. Nadia was gone. 2 cars were gone. Several expensive items were gone. His safe had been emptied. His accounts were bleeding. The documents from Rex's investment turned out to be worthless. Phone numbers stopped connecting. Promises disappeared. Lawyers began calling. Creditors began calling. Men who had once laughed with him now ignored him. Within weeks, Kofi discovered the truth. He had been used. Nadia and Rex had played him perfectly. And because greed had blinded him, he had helped destroy himself. The mansion was seized. The business collapsed. Even some relatives distanced themselves. For the first time in years, Kofi sat alone without noise, without flattery, without power. And in that silence, the memories came back. His children asking for food. Amina carrying the sack. Her steady voice when he tried to shame her. The day he told his own family to leave. One rainy afternoon, he finally went to see her. He found her at a larger shop now. Clean signboard. 3 workers in aprons. Customers inside and outside. The name above the door read, Amina's Morning Pot and Catering. He stood there, drenched and humbled. When Amina saw him, she did not smile, but she did not insult him either. She simply stepped outside. Kofi lowered his eyes. I lost everything, he said. Amina answered calmly. You had everything once. He swallowed hard. I was foolish. Yes, she said. I came to ask, not for money, but for forgiveness. Amina looked at him for a long moment. Rain tapped gently on the awning above them. Inside, she could hear cups clinking and customers laughing. A life he never imagined she could build. Amina, he said, voice shaking. I know I do not deserve another chance, but I need you to know I see it now. I see what I destroyed. Amina's face softened, but only slightly. You did not destroy me, she said. You tried to, but you failed. Kofi nodded, tears gathering in his eyes. I miss my children. You should, she replied. He covered his face for a moment. I was proud. I thought being a man meant control. I thought money gave me the right to humiliate people. Amina said, money only revealed who you were. He looked shattered. I'm sorry. Amina took a slow breath. I forgive you for my own peace, she said, but forgiveness is not the same as returning to pain. Kofi nodded weakly. I understand. You may see the children, she added, if you come with respect and consistency. They need healing, not drama. His lips trembled. Thank you. Before he left, he looked once more at the shop, the workers, the customers, the sign, the quiet strength in Amina's posture. This was the woman he once told to go and sell porridge by the road. And now the city stood for her, because she had first learned to stand for herself. That evening, when the children came out, Kofi saw how much they had changed. They looked healthier, safer, lighter. Nia greeted him carefully. Malik held back, then waved. Tendo nodded like someone older than his years. Kofi nearly broke. He wanted to say many things. Instead, he only said, I am sorry. No long speech. No excuses. Just truth. And sometimes truth comes too late to restore what was lost, but not too late to expose it. Months later, Amina expanded again. She trained women who had been abandoned, widowed, or pushed aside. She told them, never let shame define your future. If all you have is one pot, start with one pot. If all you have is one skill, begin there. People repeated her story everywhere, not because she had been humiliated, but because she had turned humiliation into value. As for Kofi, he lived much more quietly. He learned the hard way that a man can lose money and recover, lose status and recover. But when he throws away loyalty, kindness, and his family with his own hands, the damage cuts deeper than poverty. And on some mornings, when the city was just waking up, people still remembered how it all began, with a sack of millet thrown in pride, and a woman wise enough to turn it into destiny. Closing moral: never mock honest work. Never starve the hands that care for your children, and never confuse silence with weakness. Because sometimes the person you humiliate today is the one the world will honor tomorrow.